Today we are celebrating the resurrection of Christ. That is the greatest message of Christ's life, not the crucifixion. Anybody can be crucified and killed, but this dead body of Christ was resurrected from death. Death itself died and he overcame. It's a miracle for ordinary human beings, definitely, but not for Christ, because he was a divine person. He was Sri Ganesha. He was Omkara itself. So, he could walk on the water. Gravity would not affect him. And also, he got resurrected because death could not affect him. Such a great divine personality, specially created for human beings, that people should recognize him. But they did not recognize him. They killed him in a very brutal manner. And even now, they think cross is a great thing because Christ died on the cross. It's a very cruel idea of human beings to respect the cross. What does it show? It shows that people liked all the cruelties done to him, symbolizing cross as the one that represented his death and his atrocities, the way he was tortured. So it was a very sad time when he was crucified. But when he got resurrected, it was the most joyous, most auspicious, and most beautiful time. The resurrection of Christ is very symbolic for SahajaYoga. If Christ could be resurrected, then human beings also can be resurrected, because he came as a human being with all powers, and he created the path of resurrection for us. This path of resurrection is the one that we have followed in SahajaYoga. But the greatest thing is the piercing of the Agya Chakra, which is described in all spiritual treatises, or may be called as the scriptures, that is the door which is golden, which is like a cover, and no one can pass through that. So constricted is this door of Agya Chakra. But Christ did cross that. His crossing has helped us today to open your Agya. Without opening the Agya, you cannot go to Sastra. And this was done so easily in your case, only because Christ could go through all that torture and all that brutality and crossed over. How much we should be indebted to him, I don't know words that can express. Because he is the one who took lead in telling people that you seek and you will find. And then he says that you have to come and bang at the door. This is exactly what has happened in your case. That you have risen up to Agya and then you have crossed beyond Agya. This crossing of Agya was not at all difficult for you. Though by your own ideas of thinking and of conditioning, of the futuristic planning and all that, it was a big crowd, I should say, of very black clouds were hovering on the your thoughts were overpowering, and you could not have penetrated through this Agya which was all covered. But you did, and you never even felt that you have crossed the Agya Chakra so easily. So first of all, we all should really be very thankful to Christ for opening the Agya for you. For him, all the tortures and all the brutality were nothing, because his purpose of life, his purpose of his advent, his incarnation was to break the Agya Chakra. Today you will find that even though your Agya is opened out and you have crossed through, still you will be amazed that people get involved in the Agya Chakra. In SahajaYoga, people do get involved in Agya Chakra. Now, how do we see through introspection what happens to us? For example, once people come to SahajaYoga, they think they are in charge of this, in charge of that, in charge of all the Sahajogis, and they start behaving in a manner which doesn't behove a Sahajayogi. It doesn't. I've seen them and I really am amused the way they just start thrusting themselves and showing off that they are very much in charge. This is nothing modern. This is used to be there with human beings. But if it was so, it was before SahajaYoga. Even now, people get into the mood of dominating others by saying that we are in charge. SahajaYoga is not so simple as you think, because there are lots of temptations. Supposing you make somebody a leader. Now leader becomes sort of in charge, and he gets the drunkenness of power. When he is like that, he starts dominating all the rest of the people and also starts showing off that he is something very great and he has to dominate all the rest of the people. Then he creates an atmosphere of fear. Firstly, I have seen what happens with them is that they start saying falsely that mother has told this, mother has said so, this is mother's ideas. I have nothing to do with that gentleman. But he goes on talking like that and people get very frightened. Then also he can also frighten you by saying, I will tell mother Mother will listen to me and she'll punish you. I'm sometimes very surprised at such people because I have never said that I'll punish somebody or I'll take him out of SahajaYoga. Nothing of that. So this man who thinks no end of himself, he may be a leader, may not be a leader, maybe nothing in SahajaYoga. And then he starts talking like this in such a funny manner that it doesn't look that the person is a SahajaYogi. Then he goes even further. He goes himself describing as something very great, as if he is the one who is chosen specially for rising higher and higher. When I hear about these things, I am really amazed. How can people befool themselves all the time and behave in such a manner? First thing in SahajaYoga is humility. If you are not a humble person, you cannot be a SahajaYogi. The person who orders about, the person who talks in a manner as if he is Hitler, any person who tries to control and be in charge of the thing, all these capacities only show that that person has achieved nothing in such. First thing is to enjoy the humility. I have seen people like this. They'll always sit in the first row. They'll be always sitting in a place where you just see them all the time there. I just smile. I know they are just show-offs. They think no end of themselves. And that's why they are there. But they themselves are losing. They themselves are not very happy. That's why they try to do all these tricks and this kind of domination. The other side of it is people who are humble, who are simple, who are honest, and who are really seeking the truth, are being oppressed by this gentleman. He oppresses them, tries to show off, tries to make slaves out of others. But I have seen people have gone so far that there was a group of people who just would not move even an inch without the permission of their leader. And they would go all out to be subservient to such a irrational personality. First of all, you know, this is the love of mother. Mother never dominates. She cannot dominate because she is nothing but love. As soon as she sees the problem, immediately she absorbs it. She has to make deliberations, just a drama sometimes to show that she is angry. But she cannot basically be angry with anyone. It's the love which all the time is flowing. And that love envelops the mother as well as envelops you. That is how you people understand such. What does a human being need is nothing but love and compassion. Love and compassion of a very, very pure type. Look at Christ. He pitied the people who crucified him. He told his Father, God Almighty, that please forgive them because they do not know what they are doing. He could see that the blindness of these people are doing wrong things, and God the Father will be very annoyed, who is wrathful and may destroy them. So this is what it was done with a very compassionate feeling. without thinking about, just automatically he felt that these people are doing all this to me and I don't know what will happen to them. So he prayed to God, to Father, please forgive. Please forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. They are blind. So please do not punish them. What compassion, what love. I mean, think of it. Okay, do we do that in our life? If somebody harms us, troubles us, do we ask Father to forgive those who do not know what they are doing? That should be the level of Sahaja. And it will work out very well. If you ask for forgiveness, God will look after them. He'll transform them. He'll bring them to their senses. The message of Christ are full of love, compassion, pure compassion. How he tried to protect Mary Magdalene is an example of that, who was leading a sinful life. And for a saint, it had nothing to do, he had nothing to do with her. But when he saw she being stoned by people, he stood against her, took a stone in his own hand, and he says, all right, those who have not committed suicide, have not committed any wrong deed or have not committed any sin, can take the stone and hit me. And nobody came forward because they had to face themselves. When we are dominating others, then a kind of a cruel joy is that. Some sort of a joy that I don't understand myself, but people have. They show off that we have achieved this joy, we have achieved this great power. It has happened for centuries with all the great emperors and also despotic rulers. But with SahajaYoga, it should be the other way around. They have to rule the world with peace and love. They don't have to show off by any chance. This is how SahajaYoga will spread much, much faster. What does the world need? You just think of it. It needs only love and affection. Those people who are yet lost in the ignorance about life and are still busy troubling others, torturing others, going against the collectivity, will have to return to normalcy. It's very abnormal behavior sometimes, and you just don't understand why they behave like mad people. It is very difficult also to tell such a person that you are mad. And also it's difficult to be with such a person who is so mad, with some sort of a power. It goes on like that with so many SahajaYogis I have seen, who start thinking they have lots of powers. They can do whatever they like. They can talk to anyone, and they can confuse everyone. But in SahajaYoga, you don't have to confuse. You have to clearly express your love. But that doesn't mean any kind of a particular gesture or a particular happening. But it is just a inner oneness with each other. Sometimes I find SahajaYogis so much understanding each other, so much loving each other, so beautifully enjoying the love of other people. When I see that, I feel very, very happy, absolutely overjoyed. That's what I wanted. These people should enjoy is that. And you will be amazed. The most enjoyable thing is the love that you give to others. You may not receive, but when you give love to others, then is the most enjoyable thing. But the way you express yourself is also an art, I think, to understand how to please others, how to make them happy. I've told this story before also about a saint who lived in Gagan Bauda. Is a what you can say, is a hill or a mountain. He used to live there and he couldn't walk, you see, because of vibrations. He lost his legs or something, the power in him. And then he would go all over the place on a tiger, because tiger loved him and he loved the tiger. So this gentleman was all the time telling people from Bombay, "What are you doing here? Mother has come, go and touch her." I didn't know why he was so much concerned. So I told Sahajogis, I must go and meet him. So all these gurus, you see, they say that we don't leave our pillows. We have to be in our own pillow, means wherever they live, exist, they won't go out. I'm the other way round. I'm never stationed in one place. So they asked if I could go. I said, why not? So I went there. And the Sahajogis said that, "Mother, you never go anywhere. So why do you want to go here?" I said, all right, see the vibration. And it's tremendous vibration. So when I went out, this fellow was very angry with the rain, because he was supposed to control the rain. He was supposed to be controlling the rain. It's very surprising that when I went up, that he could not control. And I got completely drenched. So he was very angry. He was sitting on a stone, and I was doing like this with anger. I didn't say anything to him. I went inside and sat in the cave where he had made some arrangement for me to be seated. Then he came, he touched my feet, and he sat down. And I was amazed that he was still angry, and he couldn't understand why the rain could not stop. So he asked me, "Why did you not allow me to stop the train? Because after all, you are coming to see me all the way, and the rain should have behaved. And I also could not somehow or other control the rain. So what was the thing? What was the lesson?" I just smiled. I said, "See, you are an ascetic, you are a sannyasi, and I am your mother. I cannot take a sari from you, because after all you are a sannyasi, and you are not supposed to take anything from a sannyasi. Even the mother cannot take anything from him. But you have bought a nice sari for me. So I had to get drenched so that I could take a sari from. You see, the sweetness of my telling him just made him melt away. Started crying. He said, "We need a mother for this one. There should be the mother. We cannot solve, because whatever it is, we get angry. Or we want to disappear. We don't want to be with these horrible people who are so sinful. To help them, This is the problem with the world today, and that's why you find very few spiritual people in the whole world, because they are the ones who are being very much tortured, troubled, insulted, all kinds of things happen. So they are struggling, so they want to die very fast. Ganeshwara, such a great personality, such a great writer, poet. I mean, he was everything, so beautifully he has written. But at the age of 23, he took his samadhi. Means he went into a cave and closed the cave and died. Must have been tired and fed up with the surroundings of ignorant people. And that's why he did. So you can imagine a person like Ganeshwara, who was the incarnation of Kartikeya, had to recede into the world of the dead because he couldn't bear it anymore, the way they were torturing them. They tortured him so much, saying that he is the son of a sannyasi and he has, I mean, it's like this, son of a sannyasi, means he is no good. He is absolutely like an illegitimate child, and he is ill-treated to such an extent. He didn't even have shoes to wear in that heat of India, he used to walk bare feet. And his sister, brother, who were great scholars, who were great saints, great incarnations, all of them. As a result, he wanted just to disappear. And he made a beautiful way of doing it, that he told them that I have to go, and he took leave from them and went inside his cave and got a samadhi. Even Christ was very young when he was crucified. He was 33 years of age. It was all planned by the divine that he was to be crucified, to make way for our SahajaYoga, to open the Agya, to sacrifice his life, and for him to be hanged in such a horrendous, cruel way, which normally you do not find people behaving in such a manner towards a person who is about to die. So what happened? That those people who were in charge of his crucifixion must have been some devils, the way they behaved. It is not possible to forgive them, even if Christ says it's difficult to forgive such people who were watching the crucifixion of Christ. So, if that is the case, that a person like him thought that let me do my job is to break Sastra. And then he didn't want to live with these stupid people to be tortured. And he just disappeared into Kashmir, where he lived after his resurrection. Lots of stories are there about his ascent and his resurrection. And you see all those stories, if you read, you'll be amazed how miraculously he got his second birth, we can say, or second life in Kashmir. He lived in Kashmir happily for some time with his mother, and there he died. They say there is a grave of our Lord Jesus Christ, and also his mother was there. But who has taken advantage of his life, from his life? Who are the people really who wanted him to die? You know very well. You know very well how Christ died and the people came up suddenly, like Paul and Peter, who tried to make a big business out of it. It's very sad to see that these two persons brought such a shame. This Paul was nothing but an organizer, I think. Also a beginner. He was a person who was bureaucratic, I should say. But he was not only bureaucratic, he was also a man who wanted to have a big position. So he told a lie that he went down to Damascus, and on his way, he saw a big cross. According to SahajaYoga, all such signs are a sign of supraconscious. It's not of the spirit. And then he came back and he started his own research and sort of things like that. And he's written a lot of things, but throughout, if you read, you'll find that he was not a surgeon. He was just an organizer. He was a bureaucratic personality who was writing how we should administer, how we should have people who are different types of people, how should we manage them. So his management department, he was the management department for the Christians. So the Christians also became extremely very secretariat type. Like, you see, everything has a time. You must come like this, you must sit like this, you must talk like this. And also the nations which are supposed to be Christians are observing all that in a very official manner. It is not understood why are they so much official in everything. Just the opposite, what Christ did, is to break the agya. They built up this. And the Christian nations became the most arrogant, most aggressive nations in the whole world. For them, it was their right to occupy any land they saw. It was in their right to establish their own laws, their own, I should say, assemblies. All this is done in India, I know. Even today, if you go to places like Punjab and all that, you will find the people are just living like rustic people, working very hard. And they are all the time under attack from people who are dominating and those who wanted the full advantage to be taken out of these people. It was a ridiculous thing to behave like that as Christians. Then also they started converting. It's another nonsense. Converting them. In the south, what they did is we Indians never make breads. They don't know how to use a oven in the south. So they made huge big cakes. You can call it a cake or you can call it a bread. And put it in the water or in a well. And they would say that we have put the part of the calf of a buffalo or could be a cow or something. And they just believed. And so they said, now you are finished, because you are no more belonging to Hindu religion or to any other religion. So now you have become Christian. And that's how they made thousands and thousands of people Christians who were actually downtrodden people, I should say. At least they would call themselves downtrodden. Now all these downtrodden people, they wanted to have converted to Christianity, because they thought, they all wanted all such people who would just follow the missionaries and who would not question, because they were not educated people. They are not people of any understanding or intelligence to understand what these people are. So when they started this tirade against the downtrodden people, so many of them joined. Thus they formed their own race and they started. This is a thing one should understand. How the dominating nature of people accepted a particular religion because that religion is nothing but humility. And how then these people supposed to be in charge of Christianity converted people into something absurd. See, it is a human nature. It can enjoy any nonsense, any kind of cruelty, any kind of oppression. It can never give up that realm, that area where they have been dominated. Now, as it is, the Christian nations have gone even beyond that, because among the Christians, it is all the freedom given to them. They are liberated. Do whatever you may like, it will become Christian. They are all right. Isn't it? They are the ones who have been dominating, and those who are dominated are there everywhere. They would go to people, ordinary people, whom you can call as aboriginals, and convert them. Their main method was to convert. What was the need to convert so many people? Because in democracy it is important that the number you have should be large. So to gain the number, they used to convert. And it has been so many. See, the whole situation of Christ really makes me feel very nervous. Today you all are SahajaYogas. You are all so much higher than others. You have all the powers. And then, supposing you want to behave like the Christians, I don't know what you will do. So now you are on the verge where SahajaYoga is accepted in different countries, and there people respect people who are SahajaYogis. They have given positions. Then suddenly you might get this power business into your head. You may try to become like a despot, because that is human nature. That's not divine, but that's a human nature. For example, when in the kingdom of, you can say, of the animals. They are aggressive on each other. It's all right, it's permitted, it's done. But there's a system, there's a way, there's a method how they dominate. It's not like they jump on everyone. But I've seen in SahajaYoga, many people, you make them a leader, finished. Then he sits on everybody's head. If you don't make them a leader, then they go on writing letters to me one after another, that Mother, we want to be leader. I want to be a leader. Like this, they go on insisting on this. For what do you want to be the leader? Just to dominate others. And this domination business is not meant for such. I'm here today to tell you about the beautiful image of Christ who rose above death. In the same way, let the death of all nonsensical ideas, all negative thoughts, everything has to be overcome. You have to be the Lord of yourself, and in that you should feel so comforted, so happy. In giving others, you will find it very much easier than taking something from others. It's very, very surprising how SahajaYoga has taught you all these things. In SahajaYoga, people have to say that they are very wonderful. They are very beautiful people. They are very loving. They are very kind. I want to hear that all the time about you all. That you all are individually or collectively, you are something outstandingly great. But this greatness is not by domination or by showing off, but it is coming from within. People see you and know it is something. And that is how SahajaYoga is going to spread. It's the Christ within you has to arise. Christ within you has to guide. It is Christ within you who will teach how to behave towards others and how to gain their confidence and give them the love and peace that you have now flowing within you to make them very, very happy and joyous people. This is the message of resurrection. This is the message of breaking the sastra. So this egg, which was described in the very surprising, very clearly described in Devi Mahatmyam, how this egg was formed and was broken into two, and from one part of the egg came out Christ. Another part was Sri Ganesha. It's all written down. But this Christ is described as Mahavishnu, not as Christ. So this Mahavishnu then grows and he does all these wonderful things. It's a real message, beautifully written by the life of Christ, that now as we are thoughtlessly aware, now we have to express that light through our lives. And we have to show to the world that we are quite and that only we are within ourselves absolutely complete. We don't want anything from others. What we want now to give whatever we have achieved to others. This is what people are looking at you and at all the Sahajayogis. May God bless you. Thinking of Christ, I find it impossible to keep awake even, because to keep in these modern times is very difficult when you are thinking of Christ and talking about Him. It's just something shows that how people never understood such a great man, such a great personality. And he was divine, absolutely divine. Despite that, he made a drama, we should say, to go through all the sufferings. It's very painful even to remember all that, how he crucified himself and how he died. But the main point is this: he's done for you, for all of you, and you are so indebted to him. It is his work which has helped the Kundalini to be awakened and could pass through this fontanelle bone area. All this would have been impossible without the sacrifice of Christ. You all should thus deserve to have some sacrifices. See, this is a very symbolic thing that has happened. And you all should be all the time prepared to sacrifice whatever is possible for the emancipation of humanity. It's very, very subtly at this moment now. Forget about the seeking, forget about everything. What is needed is that you have to remember all the time that you are saved, you are being blessed by the sacrifices of Christ. It's very important. May God bless you.